Hello. This video is going out to the parents of our TK to 5th grade families, and it is about your hybrid selection opportunity. I know when we came to you about a hybrid informational night the week before we went to spring break, we had shared what the hybrid plan could look like based on what we had shared with the board. We also shared that we had some ceilings that needed repair, and if anything were to change, we would follow up and let you know. Well, we're at that place today to be able to share some very good news that our classroom ceilings have been able to be repaired, and they were repaired on schedule. And all of this has all come about since I talked to you last on March 25th. So it was something they were able to do in a quick turnaround time. What this means is that when we move to our hybrid schedule, our teachers will be able to teach out of their own classrooms. This does alter and change our plan for what we're offering for hybrid. There is a long, detailed letter below that I do ask you to read if you are still unsure about the schedule for planning purposes and to make your decision of whether or not you will be choosing to have your child remain in distance learning or in in-person instruction for the remainder of the 2020-2021 school year. So basically, depending on when it starts for your child's grade, and the timeline is down there as well, you will be either choosing to have your child come back in person or to stay in distance learning. The in-person schedule will be a morning session of 8:30 to 11:30 on campus in person with their teacher. And then the student will be picked up at 11:30, will go home, and their afternoon session will be asynchronous, either completely on their own or perhaps with some small groups with paras checking in. It really depends on the child and their schedule. The distance learning students, if you choose to stay in a distance learning model, it is 100% distance learning at home. However, the daily schedule for that has changed as well. Since the teachers are now on campus teaching in person, for a distance learning schedule, those students will be doing asynchronous work at home in the morning, possibly also working with some small groups with paras. And then after lunch, they will be joining their teachers live on Zoom for the distance learning session. And that would be from 12:30 to 3:30. Both sessions will start off with a morning meeting, even though the afternoon session is in the afternoon, we'll still call it morning meeting since we all know what that is. They'll start off with the morning meeting, and then they'll go about the rest of that chunk of time of that 3-hour block after morning meeting to do instruction, to do community building, social emotional learning skills, and things that our students need, whether they are on campus or whether they're at home. Both groups will have either a recess break if they are here on campus, or they may have a recess break or two shorter breaks, depending on how the teachers structure the distance learning at home. We are asking our families to choose which of those options would work best for them. We also are, as much as we would like to guarantee that the student will be with their teacher, this may not be the possibility, and let me explain why. Based on our law, we have to provide the opportunity for students to do in-person learning. And since we do not have the hard numbers yet, we will by Monday, since you'll be completing this form. Once we know the numbers, we'll know what we can do. But until then, we may have more students that want to do in-person learning than just in the first half of the day. So let's take teacher A, for example, if they have 26 students. If 20 of those students want to come back in person, we do not have the physical space in our classrooms to have the students be seated 6 feet apart and have 20 students in the classroom. We are sticking with the 6-foot distance, even though we know the CDC and the state have said it's allowable for 3 feet. We are staying with the 6 feet distance in order to ensure safety of our families, for our students, and for our staff, because it just gives a little bit more space. When we have it, we will use it. However, what may happen is now we've got 6 or 7 extra kids that can fit in that classroom. And so what might end up happening is the teacher will need to find a way. We might end up having an in-person session in the afternoon as well. Or we may end up having some students that would have been distance learning with one teacher do distance learning with the other. Again, we don't necessarily anticipate this happening. It all depends on the numbers based off of our initial survey results. And I know there was a large chunk of people who were unsure and undecided. We feel that we may be able to make this work with what we have. If we do get to the point where we have more people that want to come back in person, we will reach out to that grade level, to those families, and work through that system of what that looks like, letting them know, like, would you have a preference for the morning or afternoon session, letting people know what the situation may be with the teachers, and the parents may possibly want it to shift their minds at that time, but let's see where we come. So what I'm asking of you today, and you have through the weekend, I know that you all have been thinking about hybrid. I know that you are wondering what will work best for my child. The details of the plan are laid out below. Please read through it, look through it, and make the decision and commit for the remainder of the school year. Would I want my child to do in-person instruction, or would I want them to do distance learning? TK to second grade will be starting on April 19th, and third, fourth, and fifth will be starting on May 3rd. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please write them to me. And again, please read the full details below. I look forward to seeing your responses. Thank you.